Calgary Flames won big on Saturday night, but there were certainly some head-scratching moments that we have to talk about here on today's episode of Locked On Flames.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Locked On Flames. I'm your host, Jess Belmosto, and we are so excited to be here to talk about the 7-game stretch against the Eastern Conference teams, the big overtime win against the New York Rangers on Saturday night, and of course, the final, game in the 7-game stretch against the Philadelphia Flyers happening later today. But first, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. And of course, this is the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. We're going to talk all about, the only 2 regulation goals from the Flames, how goaltending really stepped up, and more today. And I am so proud of the Flames for winning this game. It was certainly an entertaining one. It wasn't as physical and, offensively driven like the game against New York just 12 days before was. But it was still a really great game, and I think that the Flames played well. You start off Mangiapane scoring 38 seconds into the game, and then 8 seconds later, you have Kadri scoring. And I swear, I was sitting there tweeting about Mangiapane, and then by the time I hit send, Kadri had scored. So I was like, oh my God, I gotta do this again. Maybe someone else will score, right? But then there was nothing, right? There was no more goals in regulation for the Flames. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for someone to score. They had outshot the Rangers 32-20. So you're kind of, again, dealing with the volume, the quantity versus quality shots, and are those shots that you're registering really any good? And there were a few minutes down low in front of the crease, or in the crease really, where I thought that the Flames were going to have a 3-0 lead in the first period, because I thought that they played well. But the offense didn't show up again until till overtime, and they won overtime on a power play. Had it been even strength, would the Flames have won? I don't know. That's a whole nother thing to dissect here. But going basically 59 minutes without a goal is concerning. I'm not trying to discredit Mangiapane or Kadri's efforts, because that is the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do here. I think that they played well. I think that they, getting that early lead and securing a 2-goal lead is great, especially early on. But you needed that third insurance goal. They say the 2-1 lead is the most dangerous lead in hockey for a reason. And we saw that, we saw Tarasenko score, and you're like, okay, there we go. There's the 2-1 lead. And then, of course, you have Lafreniere tying it up in a little bit past the halfway mark of the third period. And there wasn't anything to cushion that, okay, we only have this much time left in regulation. How can we secure this win? How do we secure the 2 points that we need right off the bat? Number one, the Rangers were coming in on the second half of a back-to-back against the Edmonton Oilers that went to a shootout, okay? The first thing here is that you're playing a team from the East Coast, wrapping up their road trip on the second half of a back-to-back, right? Right there. That should be all you need to know, and being like, 2 points secured. But no, this is the second time that the Flames have struggled. And they looked like they're on the second half of a back-to-back when they're playing these opponents like Detroit and then, of course, the Rangers. And I really expected more through the 60 minutes. I am very grateful for the outcome, of course, and of course, there was a ton of patience from Huberdeau to Foley, Anderson, and who else was out there on the power? Backlund, obviously Backlund, he scored. And there was a lot of patience there, right? And it took, they kept passing the puck, watching, trying to, they didn't shoot. It was just boom, boom, boom. And I just kept waiting. I was like, you have a man advantage. There are 4 of you and 3 of them. Someone needs to shoot. And it finally happened. But one of the bigger things, it's really not a big thing. It happens, okay? This happens, and I think people, who don't have Kadri on their team are kind of like, oh, here we go, flashes of old Kadri. What a, selfish player. Game's tied up, and he's throwing a fit. But he tried to argue a penalty in the third period, and I guess the refs kind of told him, like, gave him a warning, like, hey, don't do this. Like, you need to watch your mouth and watch your step, or things are gonna, you're out. And he ended up getting tossed because he was getting loud with the ref, getting loud with the linesman. And he said a few choice words, and, I get it. But right there, you're down one of your top scorers, and you're already down Lindholm, who welcomed his first baby boy yesterday with his partner Annika. Welcome to the Sea of Red, Levi Lindholm. What a gorgeous name. What a sweet family. But in all seriousness here, Markstrom looked great too. Like, we can pick apart the offense all we want and tear that apart, but Markstrom held strong too. He was able to stop 18 of 20 shots, I believe, and he had some fantastic saves where I was like, this is the same Markstrom that we were just talking about shutting down for the season. And that's what's so frustrating about watching Flames hockey. You're just like, how is this the same player that I was like, whatever, shut him down, it's no big deal. 2 days ago, 2 days before, and then he shows up and he looks like Vezina finalist Jacob Markstrom. It is just the perfect definition of Flames hockey. That is the true experience of Flames hockey. And I'm looking forward to hopefully experiencing more of the positive sides of Flames hockey now. And we're going to talk more about this 7-game stretch wrapping up here against Eastern Conference teams. But before we do that, I do want to take a quick minute to tell you about our next partner, AG1, which is a product that I use every day. It's just one simple scoop in a cup of water, and you are equipped with your immune fighting nonsense that you just need to stay healthy through the winter. You have your adaptogens. You have your probiotics to fix your gut. You are working on just being healthy. It helps with brain focus, energy, aging, anti-aging. And of course, you're getting so much good health benefits from just one single scoop in a cup of water. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with the convenient daily nutrition. It's one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL Network today to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I appreciate you all for hanging out here with me today on Locked On Flames. It is an absolute pleasure, and make sure that you are following me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. It is currently Monday when you're listening to this. I mean, it might be Monday. I'm recording on Sunday. So, right now, The Flames had a day off. They have an early game today at, I believe it's 2 p.m. Yes, 2 p.m. Mountain Time against the Flyers. And we're going to talk more about the Flyers next, but this is wrapping up their 7-game stretch against the Eastern Conference teams. And right now they have 6 out of 12 possible points. That's a 50%. That is not ideal. I mean, realistically, you would like for them to have 12 out of 12, right? I would really like to see 8, 7, 8 points. I feel like 6 sitting at 50% is just not satisfactory, especially when you played teams like Ottawa and Detroit, and then you beat teams like Buffalo, who's making a serious and legitimate push for the playoffs, and then the Rangers. So it feels a little skewed here, right? And you could possibly make this 8 out of 14 points, a little bit better than 50% against the Flyers. And please do not embarrass yourselves against the Flyers. This is just one of those situations that I feel like could go incredibly well or absolutely off the rails for the Flames. Carter Hart has been finding himself again and finding his rhythm. And, they're not highly ranked. And we're going to talk more about this next. But, you have to win this game. Right now, the Flames are out of a wild card spot. They are behind Edmonton and Minnesota. And looking at this right now, I'm looking at the game against Ottawa that they absolutely should have been able to win. And they should have been able to win at least one of the games, if not both, against Detroit. I'm looking at the schedule in front of me, and it's so frustrating. And you have, the Flyers are coming to town or are already in town. They're also on their Western Canadian road trip. They just got slammed by the Canucks 6-2. And I feel like the Flames just can go out and win these games against bad teams. And if this was last year, I would say the Flames, the Flames should this would be the Flyers Stanley Cup championship, because it's just so but it's not this year. It's not. Any bad team coming to the Flames last year, that was their playoff. That was their Stanley Cup. This year, it's a game. It is a game. And it felt great to be able to say, oh, this is Buffalo's Stanley Cup. Oh, this is Ottawa's Stanley Cup. Oh, this is San Jose's Stanley Cup when I'm pretty sure they swept us last season. But you know what I'm saying? You need to have that confidence again. And it felt so good to have that confidence. But this team is not ever going to turn a corner. There's not going to be a definitive moment in this season where they turn a corner and say, we are a legitimate contender, because I feel like they would have absolutely pulled it together by now. And then, of course, you have the whole Huberdeau, Alan Walsh, Daryl Sutter, and Dan Vladar Twitter saga, not creating noise in the locker room. And Dan Vladar gets on Twitter after Daryl Sutter said, and kind of talks to, or basically ratios Eric Francis right after Daryl Sutter says, we don't let social media affect this room. The social media never affects the room. And to me, that's sending a message. That is absolutely sending a message, because Dan Vladar is not someone like a Brad Marchand who's on Twitter. I think Vladar is someone that someone probably sent him that tweet, or he found it and he said, coach said one thing, I'm going to do another. Or I could be reading entirely too much into it. But regardless, I think that with the Athletics analysis of 32 NHL team schedules, and figuring out, who has the toughest going into the second half of the season and who has the easiest, who's coasting, the Flames are coasting according to this, and they should probably start playing like they're coasting through the second half of the season, because get these points. You need these points. I don't know how many times I can say it. Yes, points matter. At the end of the day, like, a point is a point, but you can't be dropping any more points. You have truly maxed out your limit for dropping points against mediocre teams. So that's, if people get upset because the Flames are losing to a mediocre or worse team, they have every right to be, because we know that they can perform at a higher level. And it is just irritating, beyond irritating, to sit here and have to explain that to people, because for some of us, it's not just like a game. It's how we pay our bills. And it's okay to analyze and criticize your team, or any team you cover. And that's coming from someone who has covered this team for 4 seasons, 3.5, and the Bruins for just about the same, if not longer. So, it's just, this team needs to start playing like a cohesive unit. I want to see more of what we saw, maybe not penalties wise, but I want to see more of that electric energy, excitement against everyone on your schedule. We'll dissect, the month of March. The last day of February, the Bruins are coming to town, and they're the number 1 team in the league. I'm happy either way with this outcome, because it's 2 more points for the Bruins, or it's 2 more points for the Flames, who beat the number 1 team in the league. So again, you really need to take advantage of every point you can get. And Philly right here is an easy 2 points. And we're going to talk more about Philly coming up next. But I do want to tell you about our good friends at FanDuel. I ended up placing a bet with the no sweat first bet. And it was the Rangers were going to score more than 2.5 goals, so 3 goals. And I was like, this is it. What, Calgary? I had Calgary scoring first. And then with the no sweat first bet, you could place however many bets as you wanted with your first deposit. And one of my bets didn't hit, so I ended up getting extra money back. I think it was 100 bonus bucks. But that is what I'm here to tell you about today. With the no sweat first bet, you can get up to $1,000 in bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. I actually really liked it because you had to authenticate that it's you, and it logs you out if you're not on it for a certain amount of time. It's safe, and it's not risky, Well, I guess it is risky because you're placing bets, but your money's secure. It's there. And you can head on over today to FanDuel.com/lockedon to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets back when you go to FanDuel.com. Again, that's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel.com, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. As always, remember to leave a nice comment in the YouTube section, or you can leave a nice little review on iTunes. I'm someone who's very impressed with how bad the Flyers are. They went on a little bit of a tear in I think start the season, not too long into it, and then they went back to their Flyers ways. Flyers fans, they're still upset that Gaudreau didn't sign with them. Instead, they got Tony DeAngelo, another South Jersey guy, and then the Devils are mad because they didn't get Johnny Gaudreau and blah, 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 whatever. If you sign Johnny Gaudreau, you're probably not getting Timo Meier, which I still don't think is happening. But anyways, Flyers just got crushed 6-2 in Vancouver on Saturday. And their current record is 22, 25, and 10. They are ranked 25th in the league. And again, I feel like this is an easy game for the Flames to win, but it's probably like a very Flames way to lose as well. Right now, Carter Hart, we mentioned earlier, actually, I guess last week, we talked about how he has been kind of finding his rhythm again. And right now, he has started 41 games. And he has a 9-10 save percentage. And I was looking at this and I was like, what is it like to have a starting goaltender with a 900 save percentage? But in all seriousness, that is pretty good. He's had one shutout so far this season, and he's played about 2,400 minutes, which is, again, very impressive. So but wins and losses are not like a great goalie stat because it's not something you can like actually attribute to the goaltender. But save percentage 9-10, and then the goals against average is a 2.8, so about a 2.9 really. But I see this as hopefully a team that the Flames can get through. But the biggest problem here is going to be keeping that offense like going. We can't have a repeat in terms of, okay, you score too early and then you just fall flat because none of your shots are landing or you're getting goalied. This is going to be, a situation maybe where you have to play a little bit more dynamic hockey. That dump and chase against the Rangers was exhausting to watch. I'm getting tired of watching dump and chase hockey because like watching them have to go retrieve the puck is exhausting, but it's a great way to wear your opponents out. And I'm looking at the stats page right now, and Travis Konechny leads the team in goals with 26, and then Kevin Hayes has 17. He's the next guy. And I do think that this is a team that the Flames are very capable of beating. I don't know if Markstrom's starting yet or if it'll be Vladar, because, I mean, it's where it's an early game. They're not going to have a morning skate. I practiced today. Lindholm was back. So, I would assume that we're going to see our normal lines, but nothing about this team is particularly like outstanding to me. I think it's great to see Kevin Hayes kind of having the season he's having, especially after battling with injuries and the sudden loss of his brother. And, he was an all-star this year, and that's absolutely fantastic. I want to see this team, obviously get any shot you can take. But if you have the opportunity to set up a quality shot, then take it. Just take a quality shot. It's not going to kill you. It's not like that final tequila shot of the night that you shouldn't have taken. We've all been there. Hopefully we all haven't been there. I wouldn't know first thing about tequila. But no, in all seriousness, you're going up against one of, a lottery team essentially, and you should be able to win 2 games in a row for the first time since December against this team. I think that it is a great way to wrap up this Eastern Conference stretch. I think it's a very smart way to just kind of move on to this next chapter, this next week of the season. After the Flyers come to town, they're off they're off Tuesday, and then they have back-to-backs against Arizona and Vegas, and then they are playing Colorado. So they have 3 games in 4 days, and that's a lot. That is absolutely a lot. And then they're off until the 28th when the Bruins come to town. And I think that's going to be, another one of those statement games where if they win, it's going to be a big game, because you're sometimes I don't know if this Flames team could be like hockey Twitter in a game sometimes, just the way they're out there playing. But thank you all for hanging out with me today on this marvelous Monday. I hope you enjoy. Nick and I will be doing Wednesday, Thursday episodes this week. as he is traveling. So thank you all for sticking around, and make sure you're following us on Twitter at Jess Belmosto, LO_Flames Pod, and Nick Zararis. On YouTube, you can subscribe for free, like the video, leave a comment. I know that you have like internal dialogue going when you're listening to this, because that's how I am. When I listen to a podcast, sometimes I'm like, I know you didn't just say that out loud. I know that's not your like legitimate take. Let's have a conversation in the comment section on YouTube. And of course, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And then I will see you on Tuesday, because I think we might have to do like a little Toronto Tuesday or something, depending on what the trade deadline looks like, because we have a lot to talk about. Is Patrick Kane on the move? Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Acciari are Toronto Maple Leafs. Where's Timo Meier going? Right now, I'm going to edit this. See you on the internet.